stations, shows, and podcasts.
You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ FM at HD1 San Francisco. Always live on the free Odyssey app. That's a wrap.
Yo, that's a wrap. It was an amazing experience. Hope everybody enjoyed it. Hope they got some laughs, some good entertainment.
This is Warriors Wrap Up on 95.7 The Game.
Curry scored the last 8. Carter reaching it. Curry dribbles across to half court. Stops, backs up, shoots a 3 early. It's on the way. Got it! He tied the game! 18 seconds to go. We're tied at 111. Yeah, tied at 111 at that point, and the Warriors would go on to win this game in overtime as they beat the Bucks 125-116. Tim Roy on the call there. We welcome you inside Warriors wrap-up here on 95.7 The Game. And wow, what a game that was. That is the opposite tonight, what you saw of gutless, which we talked a lot about over the course of the last couple of days here on 95.7 The Game, with the poor efforts defensively and really the lack of fight that the Warriors showed on the road. Tonight, back at home, completely the opposite in terms of fighting and scratching and clawing and not giving up down the stretch to win the game tonight as the Warriors did. And it really all started and ended with number 30. A lot of other heroes along the way for the Warriors tonight. We'll get to all of that. We'll hear from Steve Kerr and, of course, Stephen Curry here over the course of the next hours. We keep this thing rolling to 10 o'clock here tonight on 95.7 The Game. Now, the phone number to participate in the program, as always, 888-957-9570, 888-957-9570, as the Warriors get a massive, massive win. We can look at the big picture and, hey, we already knew that this team can win games at home, and we already knew that this team can fight and not quit and rally and come up with enough defensive stops and do special things down the stretch to win games at home. They haven't been able to do it on the road, but this is the team that they are. I almost don't even care about any of that, because at this point, while that may be true, the Warriors have to win as many games as they possibly can, home or away, down the stretch this season to have any shot at being able to stake claim to making the playoffs first and foremost. I mean, forget about talking about a championship run, this, that, and the other. But what it's all about is, can you win enough to where you look up on April 9th and you're in the playoffs, preferably as opposed to the play-in tournament, and then you see what your team looks like as far as who's healthy and who's available to play and who you're playing. And at that point, you look at your path and you say, all right, do you have a shot or not? If you don't win tonight's game and the Warriors look like they were destined to lose this game in the final couple of minutes before Steph Curry went off for what proved to be 20 points in the final 7 minutes of this one, the final 2 minutes of regulation where he went for 11 and then 9 more in the overtime. So 20 of his 36 go in the last 7 minutes of this one, and the Warriors able to come back and earn the win over the Bucks here on 95.7 The Game. 888-957-9570, 888-957-9570. Just otherworldly stuff from Steph carrying this team to victory. It was 105-97 with 3:15 to go. 105-97. Dante DiVincenzo hits a 3 to make it 105-100, and then Joe Ingles buries a 3, and the Bucks were 8 of 12 at one point in the fourth quarter from three-point range, and Ingles buried a 3, 108-100 with 2:05 to go. So 2:05 to go, it's 108-100, and Steph Curry went on his own personal 11-3 run at that point and had the block that allowed the Warriors to have a chance to win the game in regulation, as he ended up blocking Drew Holiday. He put up a lot of those points with Drew Holiday, one of the best defenders in the NBA, draped all over him, and it was basically Curry versus the world down the stretch in this one, and Curry came out on top to the tune of 111-111 when this game went into overtime, and then Curry ends up having the big overtime as well with the 9 points, and the Warriors jumped out to the 9-2 run at the beginning of the overtime period. The Bucks got the first two. Brook Lopez hit a bucket to put them up 113-111, and then the Warriors from that point on scored the next 9, 120-113. Steph with a 29-foot three-pointer at that point to put them up 7, and it was just a special night. The crowd was electric here inside Chase. Warriors banged up and shorthanded. The Bucks without Giannis coming in as the best team in the NBA. ABC Saturday Night Showcase. None of that matters because this was a full-blown survival mode type of a game for the Warriors that they've had to pull out of the hat over and over and over and over again at home because they played so poorly on the road top to bottom this season, but they got it. And it gives them a little bit of breathing room, and now you look at the end of the night and the close of business and where things stand in the Western Conference, and the Warriors able to solidify their position a little bit as far as being sixth here in the Western Conference now as the Warriors win to go to 35-33. Warriors had some other teams lose around them tonight. The Pelicans got beat tonight. Dallas got beat tonight. Utah did get a win. The Clippers did get a win earlier this afternoon against the Knicks, and so the Warriors find themselves still trailing the Clippers by a half game for fifth. Phoenix got beat tonight, currently fourth by Sacramento, so you gain a game on Phoenix as well, although I still think it's probably going to be too tough a task to win or pass Phoenix. It looks like Sacramento's going to win the Pacific Division, but passing Phoenix is something that, hey, you never know. You're only 2.5 back, and you got them coming in as your next opponent on Monday, and they're going to be playing without Kevin Durant as the Bucks were playing without Giannis Antetokounmpo. So tonight, I think, is really more about the micro and the environment at Chase tonight and something special from an all-time great and a future Hall of Famer and survival and joy and fun. And tonight's really, guys and gals, tonight is a feel-good win for the Warriors, but it's a better than the alternative type of a win for the Warriors because that thing was headed down an ugly path with about 3 minutes to go and with 2 minutes to go before Steph took the whole thing over and wound up allowing the Warriors to prevail. So 888-957-9570, 888-957-9570. Is there anything we can learn about this team, big picture, in your mind? To me tonight, it's not even about that. It's about just getting wins and trying to get closer to whole as the season draws to an end and just avoid the freaking play-in tournament at all costs at this point. Right now, the Warriors would be playing the Grizzlies in a 3-6 matchup if the season ended today, but it doesn't end today. Still 4 weeks to go. And again, just a massive win for the Dubs in the sense that you've got 5 games coming up on the road after Monday. And so if you can't win tonight, maybe you don't win Monday, and then all of a sudden you're going on the road for 5, and you're doing that from under 500 with all of these other teams right beneath you, scratching at you to try and take your spot or kick you down the road to where you basically got to win every single game over the final 8 or so at the end of the season if you're going to have any kind of shot at even just making the 7-10. That's the reality of this situation. And again, I said it right off the top. This was the opposite in terms of effort, energy, desire, composure, grit, grind, whatever you want to say. This was the opposite of Thursday and everything we saw on this road trip from the Warriors. But at the same time, it also very much allows them to still be in the conversation as mediocre as the 5 and the 6 seeds are currently, just 3 and 2 games over 500. None of these other teams are necessarily better either. And so that means you still have a chance if you can get on a little bit of a run. And hell, it may not even be get on a little bit of a run at this point if you're the Warriors. It may just be survive and eke everything out to a point where maybe it's only going to take 43 wins to get to 5th or get to 6th. Well, you know what? You'd rather have 43 wins and be 6th than have 42 wins and be 9th. It's as simple as that. And tonight is one of those games where that's the difference potentially between being a 41 or a 42-win 9th or 10th seed and being a 43-win 6 or 5 seed. 888-957-9570, 888-957-9570. It's JD here on Warriors Wrap Up on 95.7 The Game. Let's get out to the phones here to get things started with Mindless Man in Atlanta. What's going on, Mindless Man?
Hey, JD, my man. Listen to you all the time. Hey, I'm thinking that these guys have a disconnect on the road, but like some of the media pundits have said, they just, there may be something with a connective, thing with them being on the road and they're cliquish and that sort of thing. But this is a real impressive win for them at home, man. I just really thought at that 3-minute mark that they, I kind of turned the TV off and I said, let me just watch the score online. But very impressive win. And I think they're just checking, I think they're just biding their time for, when the playoffs start, and then, the motivation kicks in real well.
Well, hey, Mindless Man, I want to ask you, so if when you go to that mode of, hey, all right, this is not looking good, I'm going to just watch the score on the phone or on the computer, and then you see it getting closer, do you kick the TV back on? Do you kick the radio back on? Like, what do you do, Mindless Man? What do you do when you see it getting, or do you roll with it because you want the mojo to keep going the way that it's looking on the screen?
I'll watch the score until it ends, and I'll go back and, I pre-record it, so I'll go watch it.
So you go back and watch it later. Okay, you go back and enjoy it after the fact. Okay, yeah. All right. Mindless, appreciate you. Have a good night.
You too, man.
All right, 888-957-9570. I think a lot of people get into their little superstitions like that. You start watching the game, your team starts coming back, or you're watching it on the phone or the score update or whatever your preferred app, NBA app, and you're you look at it, and you're like, Warriors are down 8. I'm gonna go to the app right now. Warriors are down 8, and then 5-point game. 2-point game. Curry hit another 3, back-to-back threes for Curry. 2-point game with 1:08 to go. Yeah, just ride this thing out on the app. Curry layup after a Klay Thompson steal, and now it's a tie game. Yeah, at that point, when it becomes a run like that, an 8-0 run before Drew Holiday hit the 3 that put Milwaukee back up 111 to 108. Yeah, you're definitely rolling with the screen at that point. That well played by Mindless Man. I think a lot of Warrior fans, a lot of sports fans out there can understand that one when your team gets on a little bit of a roll and you ride it out with whatever brought the run, and then once you're happy because your team got the win, you go back and you have it on record, and you go back and you watch it and you enjoy it, and you go, wow, this is different. This is different than I thought it looked when I was watching it pop up on the score. Good stuff there from Mindless Man here on Warriors Wrap Up on 95.7 The Game. 888-957-9570, 888-957-9570. It's John Dickinson here on Warriors Wrap Up on 95.7 The Game as the Warriors get the win over the Bucks. They rally from 8 down with 2:05 to go. Steph Curry with 11 straight points, and the Warriors then end up pushing out to a lead in overtime, and they had all the momentum once the game got into overtime, and the Warriors able to prevail in this one to improve their record now to 35-33. 35-33 for the Warriors, so 14 games to go for the Dubs, and the Warriors will play Phoenix right back in this building at Chase Center coming up on Monday night with a chance to get another win in a game that I think, tonight without Giannis felt in a lot of ways like it needed to be a must-win for the Warriors because of the fact that it has just been so bad on the road and without showing any improvement. And this team banged up tonight. No Wiggins again, no Kuminga. They're still waiting for Gary Payton II, who's set to get reevaluated on Monday. But we've talked a lot about Steph. I want to get to some of the other heroes, and I touched on it a little bit. I mean, it was Steph with the 20 in the final 7 minutes of regulation and the 5-minute overtime. When you look at the final 2 when the Warriors went on their run. We talked about the Klay Thompson steal on Drew Holiday that set that thing up. How about Dante DiVincenzo down the stretch in this game for the Warriors? Dante DiVincenzo, part of the Warriors' closing lineup in this game, and Dante DiVincenzo had a huge game. as he put in 20 points, made 6 threes. He had 10 rebounds. He was defending down the stretch. This was a game where DiVincenzo was the guy that was part of that closing group, and Jordan Poole was not. And Jordan Poole did not play well again tonight for the Warriors. But DiVincenzo, I think, one of the unsung heroes in this one, just making plays left and right. I think Draymond Green is an unsung hero for the Warriors in this game tonight. Why? Well, because he pushed through an ankle tweak that sent him to the locker room in this game and looked like, oh, well, Draymond might be done for the night. That's not good with the Warriors and down in this game and the Bucks starting to pull away. You're thinking, wow, this team's going to need Draymond Green down the stretch here if they're going to have a shot to win this game. And Draymond winds up pulling it together after getting checked out in the locker room, going back to the bench, and then going back into the game. And it was not the prettiest of Draymond Green games when you look at 2 of 10. And I think nobody that's a Warriors fan, I think there were a lot of gulps when Draymond ends up with the ball, taking the 3 with the game tied and 2 seconds to go with the overtime shot as Curry was initially looked like he was covered. It also looked like Curry was open, and Draymond maybe could have flipped it to him, but Draymond's got that wide open look as they don't defend him on the 3. I think if the Warriors had been down 1 or 2 and Draymond takes that shot and the Warriors end up losing the game, we're having a little bit of a different conversation about the decision on that play and the decision maybe to call that play, although I have to believe there were a lot of options, and Draymond made a read probably and didn't think he could get it to Curry, and so, hey, you leave me alone, I'm going to take the game winner. We're not going to lose the game right here from the Warriors' point of view because the game was tied at that point. So I'm giving Draymond on a night where, he had 5 points, and he was 2 of 10 and 1 of 4 from 3, 13 boards, 9 assists. Like, I'm giving Draymond a nod for one of the unsung heroes. Kevon Looney, 15 boards and 5 steals in the game for Kevon Looney. He's an unsung hero for the Warriors, and there's one more. Warriors are not even in position where they're down 8 and have a shot to be able to win this game if it's not for JaMychal Green and JaMychal Green's first half. JaMychal Green was the leading scorer in the game at halftime with 13 points. He finished with 18. He made 4 threes, and on a night where the Bucks were making everything in the fourth quarter and wound up with 21 made threes and 51 attempts, JaMychal Green was 4 of 6, and with Curry's late run and DiVincenzo getting hot and JaMychal Green's first half, the Warriors ended up making 23 three-pointers. So they won the three-point battle by 2 over the Bucks in a game where nobody could make a shot in the first 6 minutes of this one. It was 4-4, basically 5-6 minutes in. Warriors were 1 for 10, 0 for 4 from 3. Both teams started 0 of 9 from three-point range combined. 0 for 4 for the Warriors, 0 for 5 for the Bucks. And they end the night. This tells you how hot everybody got. They end the night 23 of 55 and 21 of 51, respectively. But, yeah, JaMychal Green, definitely an unsung hero for the Warriors in this one. All right, 888-957-9570. Bobby in San Francisco is next here on Warriors Wrap-Up on 95.7 The Game. Hey, Bobby.
Yes. JD, can you hear me?
Loud and clear, my friend. Loud and clear.
Yes, exactly what you were saying. I just want to reiterate. Dante DiVincenzo, JaMychal Green, like the supporting cast. When I looked at the game score, the box score, how in the world did we out-rebound the Bucks who have, 7'2", Brooke Lopez, Bobby Portis? They just overall, way bigger than us, but we out-rebounded them in the game by 17. And that what tells me is I just saw it was group rebounding. Everybody was swarming to the ball, especially on the defensive end. We know what Looney can do on the is there another player in the league that, I don't know, the ratio to offensive rebounding to his defense? What do you have, 7 today? So impressive. I felt like we played and we stuck together as a team even when the Bucks went on big runs. And I think they showed a stat going into the fourth that, Curry only had, 14 or 15 points, horrible shooting. I had a good feeling that he was going to, wrap it up for us and take us home. And that shot.
Well, he didn't wrap it up. He saved them tonight. He saved them because they were down 8 with 2 minutes to go. So this was last ditch Curry versus everybody. And thanks for the call. Try to go on a run to save your team in a game that they absolutely have to have. And would have been a big time gut punch. I mean, it would have been understandable if the Warriors had got beat with the Bucks making all those threes in the fourth quarter, and if one of those Curry shots rims out or goes in and out, then we're maybe having a different conversation, and the whole night looks completely different, even though it would have been, for the most part, the same type of effort. The Bucks just got too hot. The Warriors had too many droughts in this game, but Steph put them on his back, and with the others, DiVincenzo and Looney and Draymond and Clay, who, at one point, Steph had 16 of the Warriors' 20 points, and Clay had the other 4, at the early part of overtime, going back to the late part of regulation. And Clay, 22 points tonight. Clay only shot it 16 times in the game tonight. Like, this was a more balanced effort, I thought, from Clay, with a 4 of 9 from 3. And I'm going to tell you about the rebounding too, because I think it's an interesting point to get into. 65 boards for the Warriors tonight. And you look at the collective, and Dante DiVincenzo with 10, Draymond had 13, Looney had 15. Those were the headliners. Curry had 6, Clay only 3, Poole only 2, but JaMychal Green 6, Iguodala had 5 in 11 minutes. Iguodala didn't do much. His 3-ball looked really ugly, but he had 5 boards, which is important. Moses Moody. I got to give a little nod to Moses Moody. Klay Thompson picked up his 3rd foul early in the second quarter, and then Klay looked a little ticked off in that moment at being sent to the bench, even though it's like, Klay, there's almost 10 minutes to go before halftime. You picked up your 3rd foul. Like, you got to take a seat. Like, maybe you'll come back in for a couple minutes, and I'll trust you not to get your 4th, but you got to take a seat. Klay didn't look happy at that point. Well, Moses Moody went into the game because Klay Thompson had the 3 fouls early in the second quarter, and Moses Moody had played 6 minutes to basically allow Klay Thompson to not pick up a 4th foul or whatever it may be, and Moody had 4 boards in those 6 minutes and hit a bucket. And so, that was, it was a subtle thing. It doesn't totally show up in the box score other than the rebounds, but Moses Moody was a plus on the court in those 6 minutes, and it was unplanned rotation minutes. He wasn't on the sheet tonight as somebody that was going to get into the game in the initial plan, but you got to go to the next man when one of your main guys picks up 3 fouls in the first 14 minutes of the game with 10 minutes to go before halftime, and Moses Moody got tapped on the shoulder. And Moses Moody went in the game and made a positive impact on winning tonight. And so, Moses Moody gets a hat tip in this one as the Warriors pull it out. And again, that's from second quarter minutes for the Warriors in, that's the stay ready type of deal for Moses Moody. All right, 888-957-9570. Frank and San Rafael next here on Warriors Wrap Up on 95.7 The Game. What's going on, Frank?
Hey, how you doing tonight?
Good, brother. What's going on, man?
Oh, not much. Are we live right now?
We are live right now.
All right, cool. This Warriors team is absolutely amazing. I'm like 59 years old. I followed them with Rick Barry. I watched them win the championship. Then I got away from it when Michael Jordan retired. And then now I'm back watching again. They're just absolutely amazing. This team is winning it again. And people need to respect this team because everybody has a great player like a Patrick Mahomes, a Stephen Curry, and blah, 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 right?
Well, there you go. There you go. Feeling it here is Frank and San Rafael. Thanks for the call. From this team's done to they're winning it again on the whim of a Steph Curry late-game flurry to send it into overtime and then put the Bucks away. Team with the best record in the NBA, by the way. I know they didn't have Giannis, and that's a huge deal, but the Warriors have been shorthanded. And, again, tonight's not about can the Warriors win the title or not again. Tonight is your chances diminish exponentially if you take another loss and wind up 500, and especially once you exude the effort that it took to get the game to the point where it was going to go to overtime. You lose that game even in overtime, and overtime has not been kind to the Warriors. Our friend Anthony Slater, always all over this, and he was again. Warriors get just their second OT win this year, and just the third OT win for the Warriors in their last 18 overtime games. The Warriors were 2-15 in their last 17 overtime games, and that was with one win back on January the 2nd in double overtime against Atlanta coming this season. So overtime had been brutal for the Warriors for whatever reason going back the last 4.5 years. Not tonight. Warriors get the job done. They hold on to the 6th spot. They gain some ground on Dallas and others beneath them in the Western Conference playoff race, and they got a shot to keep it rolling an inch closer to Phoenix, who's currently second in the Pacific Division. 888-957-9570, 888-957-9570. We'll come back. We'll get your secret sauce of the game. We'll also get your hardest working player of the game. We'll hear from Steve Kerr as well. Hopefully Stephen Curry between now and 10 o'clock as the Warriors rally to beat the Bucks 125-116 in overtime. And you heard it right here on 95.7 The Game.
People who come to Cricket stay with Cricket, just like our customer, Christine.
I'm a director and a performer. I got a free phone from Cricket, and I've used it to live stream 73 of my shows on social media.
How do you like it?
It's fabulous!
Switch to Cricket and get a free Samsung Galaxy A14 5G. Smile, you're on Cricket.
Real customer paid for testimonial, limited time. Must bring your number to Cricket on a $60 a month first month service charge and tax to its sale. Phone streams video and SD. Cricket 5G is not available.
job done here. So sometimes it's a collective effort. I mean, let's be honest, it's always a collective effort, and we highlighted some of the unsung heroes for the Warriors in this win. But this was just 30 going takeover mode in the biggest moments with the game practically done and forcing, willing, pulling, grabbing, and throwing the Warriors across the finish line to win this game against a team with the best record in the NBA, shorthanded, on national television, ABC Saturday Night Showcase, and that's when the stars really come out and show out, and Steph was able to do that in this one. Again, 108-100 with 2:05 to go. Curry, three-pointer to make it a 5-point game. Curry, another three-pointer at 108 to make it a 2-point game. Curry, three-pointer with 45-6 to go, or layup rather with 45-6 to go to tie the game at 108. Bucks answer to make it 111-108, and then Curry hits the three with 19 seconds to go, and then comes up with the block on Drew Holiday after it looks like Drew Holiday beat the Warriors to the punch. Draymond grabs the ball, and then the Warriors wind up going to overtime. So, I mean, Curry doing it all, the last 11 plus the block, and then in OT, Steph Curry puts the Milwaukee Bucks to bed. That, your secret sauce of the game tonight, Stephen Curry. It's brought to you by Proposition Chicken. Fried, flipped, fake. This chicken goes 3 ways, now available in 8 Bay Area locations, with the latest one and the newest one being in Novato. 888-957-9570. 888-957-9570. It is Warriors Wrap-Up. We got some people on the phone lines that want to squawk, so let's get to it. Before we hear from Steve Kerr, we've also got the hardest working player of the game, but right now let's go to Justin in Oakland on 95.7 The Game. What's going on tonight, Justin?
Hey, guys. Quickly, I just want to say, man, I think this season falls down on Wiggins and Gary Payton coming back. You know, when you get two players that can guard players, especially their best players, 90 feet, I think that saves energy for Steph, that saves energy for Poole, and that also saves energy for Clay. You get pressure taken off, man, and I think it's going to unlock Jordan Poole, especially. That's another offensive weapon that could be isolated.
Justin, I think you're onto something as far as GP and the potential to if you're going to play Jordan Poole a lot, he's got to be on the floor with other really capable defenders to be able to offset the fact that he is a pretty poor defender. And I think you're spot on with Wiggins and Payton, but it's not just Wiggins and Payton. Like, ultimately, the Warriors, I think, have to have Wiggins and Payton both healthy and available and playing well if they're going to make a legitimate push, winning multiple rounds, let's say, in a playoff. So, yes, 100%. Those guys have to be on board. You're talking about two of your best defenders. You're also talking about two guys that are in your top 8, I think, in your rotation. And Wiggins is a starter. Payton, I do think, plugs in after Poole, DiVincenzo as the 8th guy. I think Kuminga probably is the 9th guy. I think Kuminga probably plays in most or all playoff games if he plays well. But I think it's that 9, and then the sometimes, maybe a little JaMychal Green here or there, certain matchups. If he's hot early, he plays more. And I think he probably becomes the 10th at that point, but not somebody that's going to play a lot. So, yes, this season does boil down to, Justin, Wiggins and GP, their availability, but it also boils down to where does this team wind up and who do they wind up playing? What's their path? So while you can wait for Wiggins and GP, winning the games in the meantime is still extremely important, and that's where what Steph Curry did in dragging this team to the finish line and elevating them in a game that looked lost, frankly, with 2 minutes to go is so huge. Al in Alameda next here. What's going on tonight, Al?
Hey, good evening. Thank you for taking my call here. Hey, before the game started, I picked Warriors to win this game. I'll be honest with you. Okay, because at home they're more vulnerable. Okay, they play harder, and tonight I see three players out there who's really who's really hard up for it, okay? DiVincenzo here. This guy here, he comes up from the bottom. He started tonight, okay? But you cannot just disqualify this guy. He was good tonight. He's 6'12", 20 points and 10 rebounds, double. Okay, Clay with 22 points, 4.9 for 3 points. You got Kerr, okay, 6 for 15. These three guards here, they put it together. But I'm gonna mention this to you right now. Jordan Poole coming from the bench, he's a little spark plug. But in the last 3 minutes or 4 minutes of fourth quarter, that was a good decision for not putting him in there because he get rattled. Him and his dribbling like a tornado out there, it caused turnover. DiVincenzo out there, he's more calm and relaxing there, and he was shooting threes out there. And Steve Kerr, he just pushed the bomb tonight. I think that was a good call tonight. I'm not saying Jordan Poole is not good. He's good, but he's not there yet to be more calm. DiVincenzo did the job tonight, I'll be honest. That was a difference. And also, Draymond Green, thank God he came back. He came back from that. When that song came back, oh, my God, that was a good... And also, don't forget, Michael Green. He was a spark plug the first half.
Yeah, he was really the Warriors' offense in the first half. And so, yeah, there's a lot of others that did a lot of really good things. And Steve Kerr made the right call to finish the game with Donte DiVincenzo tonight, with his defense, with his rebounding, with his ball movement. I think Jordan Poole made it easy on Steve Kerr because he wasn't playing well. And DiVincenzo is somebody that we've talked about as having the potential to be a closer for this Warriors team if he's playing well. And depending upon who's available or who else is playing well or not well on a given night, even in playoff games. And so to have that option, have somebody that's a champion in his own right from the college days a couple of times. He ended up injured on that Bucks team that won the title a couple of years ago, but a really good player that was a key cog. And you could tell, I think, after the game how respected Donte DiVincenzo is by his former Bucks teammates with all the love and the hugs and the fist bumps and all of that. That DiVincenzo shared with those guys. Like, they respect the hell out of Donte DiVincenzo. Why? Because Donte DiVincenzo is a winner and a guy you want to have on the floor down the stretch in close games. 888-957-9570. Let's keep it rolling here on Warriors Wrap-Up with Coach in Los Altos next here on 95.7 The Game. What's going on tonight, Coach?
Hey, AJT, great. Absolutely great show because
JD, brother, JD.
I'm telling you, you have nailed it, and it's really hard to follow your analysis. I was at the game, my wife and I were there, and it was electric. Like you said, the crowd was into it. So when you ask what was the special sauce, we could say Chef Curry all night. And your sponsor, the chicken company, they left out barbecue chicken because he barbecued at the end. He barbecued the Bucks. I will tell you, I am a Drew Holiday believer. That dude is unbelievable. Oh my gosh, he did this one spin where he got through two screens and he almost beat Steph to the spot. So his defense is next level. So I would say though, if I had to pick the special sauce, it is the 4-letter word grit. That and it wasn't just one player. So when I think of the hardest working player, clearly I could pick Donte because he not only hit his shots, but he's probably the best guard I've seen at following shots and looking at the arc of the ball and getting rebounds that there's no way a 6'4" guy should get. So just as a coach, I'm a basketball coach up here at a high school, watching him rebound is a joy. So, but I'm not going to pick him. I'm going to say the team. So the secret sauce is grit, and the hardest working was the team because Donte worked hard. Draymond worked hard. What a beast to come back. Looney worked hard. Steph clearly looked hard. Like, he looked dog-tired in the fourth. Clay worked hard. I don't know if you saw this, but I think it was in the fourth or maybe overtime when Lopez shot a ball from the corner 3 and he missed it. And somehow Clay with Portis or bodies around him got the rebound and kicked it. So I think this was such a team win. It was gritty. It was just a joy to watch. This was my favorite game of the year.
Yeah, it's got to be up there among just fun games to watch, I think, without a doubt. And the Warriors have not quit or played lifeless for the most part at home, even in games where they've played poorly through extended stretches. They've always fought. And by the way, I do think the Warriors deserve a nod tonight as well. And I this was buried way down on my list of notes to get into. I always find myself jotting things down in about 5 different places, and so I missed this one. Hey, the Warriors won a first quarter tonight. The Warriors won. Breaking. Sterling, do we have a breaking news sounder? Breaking news. Do we have some kind of sounder for that? It doesn't matter. The Warriors won a first quarter for the first time in a month. The last time the Warriors won a first quarter was exactly 1 month ago today, when they played the Lakers in this building in an ABC Saturday Night Showcase game and got beat without Steph Curry. But, yeah, the Warriors won a first quarter 28-26. And I'll tell you this, Warriors don't win the first quarter, they don't win the game tonight. They get down 10-12 to the Bucks early, and it's night-night, I think, late, to where you're not coming back against a team that – and Drew Holiday, I think, exudes this, Coach. Drew Holiday's a champ, and he didn't have a great offensive game shooting the rock tonight. He was 3 of 11 on twos, and he missed some inside. But he's an excellent defender. He's a champion. I thought you saw some of, without Giannis, the Bucks championship pedigree on display. It was 2 teams that both have those guys that the glue guys that know what it takes and can come through in the big moments. Drew Holiday had a couple bad turnovers as well that hurt them tonight, but you look at it and he's a champion without a doubt, and somebody that does as close to probably the best job as anybody in the league at attempting to defend Steph Curry. Sometimes Curry's just indefensible because he's that good. All right, let's get to our hardest worker of the game, which is brought to you by AC Transit.
Looney handoff to DiVincenzo behind the screen. It's a 3, and it's good for Dante. Dante's got a 20-point night. More importantly, he's cut the lead to 5.
6 for 12 from 3 for Dante.
Yeah, Tim and Tom on the call there. 6 of 12 from 3 for Dante. That was the 3 that cut it to 108, 103. No, 105, 100 at that point before the Warriors wound up down in this one by 8 again here in the closing minutes. And so Dante DiVincenzo is the hardest working player. I'm going to give it to Coach in Los Altos for his pick of Dante DiVincenzo tonight, as Dante DiVincenzo will be the hardest working player of the game, which is brought to you by AC Transit. AC Transit, looking for hard workers, offering a $2,000 bonus for new bus operators and journey-level mechanics to join their team. For complete details and to apply, visit actransit.org/careers. 888-957-9570, 888-957-9570. It's John Dickinson here on Warriors Wrap-Up on 95.7 The Game. That's actransit.org/careers. Warriors win this one in overtime as they beat the Bucks 125-116. Let's keep it rolling on the phone lines before we hear from Steve Kerr, and then we will call it a night after that. Let's go to Philmo Mike. What's going on, Philmo?
What's up, HB? I mean, JT. I mean, JD. Hey, glad we showed some grit tonight, man. You feel me? We play like we gave a damn tonight. The problem with our team this year, in my opinion, I think I said this a couple nights ago, we have not shown that type of grit all year. And when we do it, it's never consistent. I wish JaMychal Green could have turned out like a Bobby Portis for us. He had a hell of a game tonight. I love that.
He did tonight, Philmo. He looked like Bobby Portis tonight making threes, but yeah, it hadn't been there with the regular.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I totally agree. That's what made me say, like, man, I love Bobby Portis' game. The Bucks, though, are super deep. Nobody ever talks about their depth, especially now after the trade deadline. They're scary, super deep. Last thing, JD, I know I'm rambling. Looney reminds you of who? Now, I'm going to tell you who he reminds me of, JD. I think you may feel me on this one. Kirk Thomas, New York Knickerbocker. Okay. Kirk Thomas, man. And
you know what?
One more thing, JD. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah, you know what? I like Kurt Thomas. Although Kurt Thomas had a sweet 18 to 20 footer, man. That I think he even stepped out and started shooting threes later on in his career a little bit. But Kurt Thomas had a little bit more of a smooth offensive game. But I'm going to tell you, I feel you, Mike, on some of those offensive rebounds. The way he kind of grabs the offensive rebound and goes back up with it. I see it a little bit there in Kurt Thomas.
I forgot that Kurt Thomas did have a little baby Patrick Ewing jumper from the corner. You right about that. But last thing,
he had a smooth shot.
The players have never tipped the ball so much. This year is crazy. I know it started last year, but players tipped the ball for the offensive rebound. I've never seen it done so much in the NBA. I've never seen it done in basketball as much as I see it in the NBA this year. Have a great show, JD. You doing your thing per usual.
All right, appreciate it, Philmo. 888-957-9570. We got a couple of more calls to get to. We'll keep it rolling. Connor and Alameda next on Warriors Wrap-Up. What's up, Connor?
Hi, thanks for taking my call, JD. I just wanted to say, I think the Warriors winning tonight was pretty much I'll give it to the team, but I think, without Stephen Curry, I think it probably wouldn't have worked out. I think Stephen Curry's pretty much when he was out, they were losing games. They weren't doing too well. But now that he's back, I feel like the team's just gotten back a really big incentive to Stephen Curry just with his skill, he pretty much carries the whole team.
Well, he did tonight, and thanks for the call, Connor. Interestingly enough, the Warriors have had a higher winning percentage when Curry hasn't played this year than when he has, which is one of the more confounding parts of this Warriors team to this point this season. But with the win tonight and the Warriors getting back to 2 over 500, the Warriors are also back to 500 when Steph plays at 21-21. He saved him tonight. They don't win tonight without him, especially as shorthanded as they were in other areas, even with Giannis not playing for Milwaukee, unless Steph goes off the way that he did. But this is the first time since Steph has been back that the Warriors have actually won a game. Of course, it comes in the first game that Steph had played at home in exactly 5 weeks, going back to February the 4th. Seabiscuit in Palo Alto is the final caller of the evening here on Warriors Wrap-Up. What's going on, Seabiscuit?
Hey, all year I've been watching the Warriors, just kind of playing good enough to hang in there, kind of like a stock car team, where they don't want to blow the car up by the time the playoffs come around. Do you remember that season they won 73 games? They didn't win the title. That was the only year out of those 4. Other teams that are kind of blowing everything up, the Greek Freak and LeBron are out. Clay didn't practice this year. So I've just been kind of laughing the whole year. And they're just kind of, keeping their guys getting ready for the playoffs. They're playing ropey-dope like the great one used to do. So
we'll see.
I think what's going to happen in a couple of games of like tonight at the very end of the game, they're going to step it up and they're going to be all fresh and ready to go for the playoffs. So I kind of noticed that early on. That's all I wanted to say.
I appreciate it. I don't think it's a rope-a-dope. I think there is some truth to a lot of what you said. I think the Warriors thought they were going to have at least 5 more wins than they do at this point. And I know there's been some close games and shorthanded, and they've been awful on the road, and they were 3-7. They couldn't beat even some of the worst teams in the league on the road early, and really they can't beat anybody on the road as of late with no wins since the end of January on the road. And so I think there's some truth to that, but it hasn't worked because they're in danger of being a play-in tournament team 1 or missing the playoffs altogether 2 if they have any kind of extended losing streak. And even if this team wins Monday at home against Phoenix, which would be another hell of a win, even without Durant, and they lose all 5 games on the road, which, hey, at this point, that's on the table because they haven't won a freaking road game since January. So if you win, even if you win Monday night, if you lose the next 5, you might be 10th. Like, that would be 2 under 500 at that point, and 2 under 500 right now is 10-11, basically. Utah is 2 under right now. So you can say that the Warriors have the rope-a-dope, and they're I don't think they're staying fresh. I'll say this. I think they're working really freaking hard to have to win a lot of these games, and especially games against lesser opponents than the Bucks throughout the course of this season. So I would disagree with that. But I do think the Warriors see an alternate universe where their 35-33 is 40-28 with a couple of wins in some close games and some semblance of decent on the road, and that 40-28 would be good enough right now to be ahead of, it'd be good enough to be 4th, but they'd basically be a game out of 2nd behind Sacramento and Memphis. And I'll tell you right now, again, every team can play the what-if game, so I'm reluctant to even do it, and the Warriors sure as hell have not earned it. But I do think they view an alternate universe where maybe they were 40-28, even with things basically playing out the same, other than a couple of close games swing their way against some inferior teams on the road. If this team was 40-28 right now, everybody would be talking about them as a potential championship favorite, and everybody would be talking about the fact that, yeah, they're 4th, but they're probably going to catch Memphis and Sacramento. Well, guess what? You're not going to probably catch either one of those teams because you're 35-33, and so you have to be accountable for that. And you don't want to put yourself in a position where it's such a danger zone that you're potentially going to miss the playoffs. And so, yeah, I'm not giving the Warriors the benefit of the doubt like they've planned it out this way. It may wind up working out. It also may wind up doing them in. All right, couple of minutes to go here. Let's hear from Steve Kerr real quick as he addressed a number of different things, including the final possession of regulation where Draymond ended up taking that 3. What happened there? And we'll hear from Steve Kerr here, and then we will call it a night on 95.7 The Game.
Steph scored, I think it was 11 points in the last 2 minutes, 22 points through the 4th and overtime, and then had that block on Drew Holiday as well. Just how did he spark you guys, especially down the stretch of that game to close this out?
Well, Steph was incredible, and he did it against one of the great defenders in the league, in Drew Holiday. Drew's an amazing player, so strong and quick, and just never quits on any possession. And it's amazing watching those two guys battle. But Steph he's fearless, and it doesn't matter if there's a slow start or if he hasn't had much going, he can ignite it at any time. And I thought that come back down the stretch, I think we were down 8 with about 2 minutes left. Championship stuff, like that's the team that has won 4 titles. So they know how to do it. And they got it done tonight against probably the best team in the league. I know they didn't have Giannis, but they're still hell of a team without him.
Steve, how hard was it to take Steph out for those whatever minute and 11 or whatever it was? And did you have to do that in your mind? And do you think it gave him a little bit of a breather?
He looked tired at that point, so it was a no-brainer just to allow him to just get a couple minutes on the bench and fill up the tank for the last few minutes.
What did you think about Steph having one of the defensive moments in the game, the block on Holiday?
Yeah, the verticality at the rim, pretty impressive, and for him to slide over there. And then, that's a play that we practice pretty much every day in our defensive drills, both guards and bigs. Verticality, just go straight up and, make a guy finish without swiping down and drawing a foul. So pretty amazing play.
What did you just think about the entirety of the game and how you guys played?
I loved this game. I thought we competed the entire time. I thought our defense was pretty solid. They made some tough shots. They made 21 threes, but we didn't foul them. They turned it over more than we did. I thought we were really solid for most of the night. We had a few slip-ups defensively, a few miscommunications, but for the most part, that's the way we have to play. Just solid at both ends.
Steve, this was the first time you guys had a lead after the first quarter in exactly 1 month.
How big was that, especially with the early contributions from someone like JaMychal Green?
Yeah, J. Mike was huge tonight. He really came in, gave us a lift. Just the way that Milwaukee plays defense with Lopez at the rim. They have a pretty unique defense for the modern NBA. He sits at the rim and in a drop, and they just try to put pressure on ball handlers everywhere to make the threes tough on Steph and Clay. I think the first half, Steph had one, Clay didn't have any, or maybe it was vice versa. But with him sitting in the paint, that opens it up for a shooting big, and J. Mike filled that role beautifully.
Steve, with so many people in and out of the lineup all season, how valuable has the steadiness of Dante been this year for you guys?
Dante's been just one of our best players night in and night out. This was a special game for him playing against his old teammates. He was fantastic. Just, not only the shooting and the energy, but, the rebounding. I think he had 10 boards, made big play after big play, and he's going to fight every possession defensively. So he's been a godsend for us.
Was that last play regulation designed for Draymond knowing he was going to be open, or did it just kind of?
It kind of played out that way. There were a few different options out of the play. And with what Lopez did, the way Lopez played it, Draymond made the right read and popped out. He's not obviously not known as a 3-point shooter, but I always trust Draymond at the end of games. The guy's just a winner, and looked like he was going in. That shot was about halfway down, but he made a good read and got a good clean look.
He went down, and can't even remember what quarter, but looked like a pretty bad ankle roll.
Yeah.
Were you surprised he came back? And I mean, is that one of those things that you're worried might?
Yeah, I mean, I worry a little bit about how he'll feel tomorrow. He may have been playing on adrenaline tonight. I was not at all surprised that he came back because, that's who Draymond is. So hopefully it's not too bad. We'll see tonight.
I know it was a starting lineup, but you closed the fourth quarter without Poole, didn't play him at all in overtime. Was that a read of the game, or was it, Dante was playing well? What was the thinking on not playing?
Dante is an excellent defender, and we felt like that gave us the best chance to win, just with the threats that they have out there with Drew and Ingles and Middleton. We wanted Dante's defense out there, and that's why we went with him. And every game's a little different, but tonight was Dante's turn to finish.
Steve, you've talked several times this year about Clay's game and evolving as he gets into his 30s. How have you seen Steph's game evolve? It seems like he's doing a lot of the same things he's always done, other than getting stronger maybe. What's different about Steph now than 2, 3, 4 years ago?
Nothing. Honestly, I don't think anything's different. He looks like the exact same guy. Sorry, I can't give you a better answer. Maybe that's a good answer. All right.
Yeah, Steph did very much look like the same guy that he's always been, closing out the Bucks tonight and rallying the Warriors into overtime and leading them to this win in overtime with the 36-point effort and, the final 11 of regulation, and also putting in 9 more in the OT. So 20 basically in the final 7 minutes of game action in what was the 53-minute game that the Warriors are able to hang on, hang in, and then push away to earn what will be their 35th victory of the season now with 14 to go, and the Warriors with 6 of those 14 at Chase, 8 still to be played on the road between now and 4 weeks from tomorrow, which is the final day, game number 82 of the NBA regular season. We'll have to keep an eye on Draymond as far as that ankle goes. He did come back. He pushed through it. And Steve Kerr alerting the media to the fact that potentially Draymond could have some trouble with that tomorrow after playing on adrenaline. So we'll keep an eye on that as we head toward Monday and head toward the Warriors taking on the Suns right here on 95.7 The Game. All right, that'll do it. Thanks to Sterling Bennett. Thanks to everybody back in our San Francisco studios for cutting all the highlights, the post-game sound that you heard here. Thanks to all the callers. A lot of great calls tonight. Text line open as well. Xfinity mobile text line. Appreciate the texters and everybody watching on YouTube and Twitch as I struggled through the lighting fiasco again a couple of times here. But the phone light works pretty good when the lights go out. So, for those of you watching on YouTube and Twitch that saw me get a little dark, and then bring out the phone light, and we fight through it here on 95.7 The Game. So good stuff there, and it was a lot of fun being at Cupcaking as well for Warriors Live earlier. Check that out in Thrive City as well. The Cupcake and Bake Shop. I may or may not have a couple of cupcakes that I'm going to take home and enjoy tomorrow on the off day. All right, we'll talk to you Monday, 6 o'clock, Warriors Live, as I will have that for you here from Chase, Warriors and the Suns, and you will hear that right here in your home for Warriors basketball. It's 95.7 The Game. Good night.
He's the best interview in the Bay Area.
Dub Nation, this is Steve Kerr.
Well, I think the fact that we've lost so many games that we felt like we should have won, we know we're right there.
He's on every single week during the NBA season.
Yeah, 100%.
Steve Kerr.
That is absolutely something I believe, and that's what we're working on. That's the plan.
On 95.7 The Game. Presented by the Next Generation 10G Network. Only from Xfinity. The future starts now.
Get up to $26,000 of ERC money for every employee you had in 2020 and 21 that qualifies. You qualify if you satisfy either one of these two tests. The easy way, your gross revenue drops a certain amount. The complex way, a full or partial closure of your business, of facts and circumstances.